Oh, yes, sirree, Bob. We've got a... Oh, I'll tell you what. Tonight's show started with a letter, because we get a lot of letters sent in to us, and some of them are kind of, God, you're fucking patronising, and some of them are kind of, hooray, we love the show, and some of them are, I've got a knife, do you like knives? And we got this letter that said, my mate reckons Labour ministers are buying properties in Wimbledon to rent out. And I thought, hello? Interesting letter here, because this raises a lot of questions. You know, Mandelson affair was, 2 years ago over property? And it's got the Labour government saying they're whiter than white and had to be seen to be whiter than white. If they're buying properties in Wimbledon, this raises a whole load of questions about transparency, accountability. Where do they get the money? Are they breaking ministerial guidelines? What's going on? So we thought, and especially in Wimbledon, because like they're posh over in Wimbledon, as simple as that. They think their idea of slumming is a woman wearing her boyfriend's rugby shirt. So we thought, well, let's start trying to find these ministers. Let's find out who they are. So we phoned up the land registry. And I said, hello, is that land registry? They said, yes. I said, you've got all the public documents about who owns what land. That's right. And they are public documents. Yes. Can I see them? Yes, you can. I've got a list of names. Can you see what these names own? Well, I can, technically. If you are the police, the Inland Revenue, or Customs and Excise. I said, can I put the phone down, start again, and pretend... No, you can't. So I said, well, how am I going to find it? They said, well, you could order up a search for the whole of the Wimbledon area. I said, can I do that? They said, technically, yeah. I said, great, how many properties in Wimbledon? They said, about 100,000 plus. I said, I can order them all up. They said, yes, you can. It would probably use all our office staff. House sales would stop completely because they couldn't register them with us. The housing market would collapse. The stock exchange would follow. The ravens would flee the tower. The Queen would die. Anarchy would be on the streets. And I thought, worth a punt. Worth a punt. So I said, yes, let's do that. They said it costs £7.50 a go. I was like, oh, man, that's £1 million nearly to do that. And for a moment, I did think, I could go on. I could go on, couldn't I? Sit there with Chris Tarrant going, Mark said if he won £1 million, he'd spend it exposing Labour ministers' property deals. What we did, we got in contact with the guy who sent the letter and said, will your source talk to us? He said, probably, but... talks in riddles, man. So we met them, and they said, we met this guy and said, look, we're very interested in Labour ministers buying property in the Wimbledon area to rent out. He said, the chums. I said, what? He said, that's what we call them. The chums. I said, well, that's not the collective noun I would use for Labour ministers, but... So I said, right, can you name the ministers involved? And I was told the names. Now, legally, I can't tell you. I can't tell you the names, right? The lawyers have looked over every single... I can't. The lawyers have looked over every single thing that I'm saying in the show. Even the line that I'm saying now about the lawyers checking has been checked. I swear to you, I can't tell you the names. What I can tell you is this. You really want to fucking know. You really want to know. I said, come on, just tell us. He said, well, I can tell you one thing. There was a development built with 39 flats. Yeah? Not so long ago. Yeah? And in it, what happened was, by law, every time you build a block with over 25 flats, you have to include socially affordable housing. Housing for the low wage, for those on low income. The government policy is to have integrated socially affordable housing, right? So there's not rich ghettos and poor ghettos. It's to integrate. Now, that is the policy, but if the developer wishes not to include those low-income affordable houses into his rather nice development, they can opt to pay a thing called Section 106 money. They give it to the council take it, they then go and build socially affordable housing somewhere else. And the integrity of the block is kept. And I said, and did that happen? Yes, it did. They paid them $500,000 for Section 106 money. I said, that's interesting. Has anything else? He said, yes. I do believe a Labour minister has got a flat there. We're down the council offices. Can we have the plans, please? All plans, any plans, all plans, buildings, big ones. We want buildings. Just give me the fucking plans. And we're sort of rummaging through this stuff. And eventually we find the block with 39 flats in it, and attached there's a bit of paper that says, Section 106 money paid by the developer to the council, £500,000. Bingo, we've got a name for the block. Go back to the land registry, who are our mates now. They are, because we phoned them up. We've been taking pot shots, you know, just ordering up blocks of flats, getting all the documents. Channel 4 have been sitting there going, you're shitting our money down the toilet. Yeah. fuck it, you know, better me than friends. So, so we go to them and say, can we order up this block of flats? And they just go, oh, all right, if you want to. Because they kind of feel guilty that we're spending money with them. They're nice people. So we're sitting there by the fax machine, the documents are coming off, the 37th document comes off, and I'm just nothing. Not a celeb, not even Leslie Joseph. Fuck all. I'm thinking I'm going to get fucking Salman Rushdie's hidey hole before anything here. This stuff's coming off, and I promise you, the 39th document that came off had the name. A name that we recognised. Michael Meacher. Michael Meacher, the Minister for the Environment. And I know you're thinking, no, not the left-wing firebrand Michael Meacher, no, surely. Not the man who stood for Deputy Leader of the Labour Party when Tony Benn stood for the leadership. Not the man Michael Meacher who, in his book, Socialism with a Human Face, said the immortal words. An essential concomitant of a socialist democratisation of power is a socialist attack on the class roots of capitalist society. Not him, you're thinking. Well, it was indeed him. I mean, half of me was thinking, no, it can't be Michael Meacher, and half of me was thinking, hallelujah. And we suddenly thought, let's rent Meacher's flat. Because once we've got it, man, it's ours. You know, open house to big issue sellers. You know, all these guys getting ready for work with the tie and all that, and the other blocks coming out, and there's a fella with a donkey jacket going, ooh, where's my dog and the papers? Now, we couldn't get Mr. Meacher's flat, but we were able to rent a flat in the same block that's very similar to his. 2 beds, 2 bath, very chic. Phoned up the guy, said, look, we want to rent this flat. He said, great, that's fine. I said, how much is it? He said, 700 if you're including line rental, you know, for the telephone, and calls could be 720, 750. And I thought, well, all right, 700, 750, not too bad. To be honest, I mean, it's London, it's Wimbledon, it's expensive, but if there's 2 of you, I thought, well, that's 370 quid a month, not too much. I said, well, that's okay for a month. He said, no, that's a week. 700 to 750 a week. And I'm like, I mean, you know, that's a lot of money. You know, I mean, some people who watch the show will obviously be going, no, it's not a lot, because the Queen watches the show. I don't know if you know that. She does. She's probably sitting there going, 750, I shit it. You know, we thought this is a lot of money, so we thought, we found out this woman who we got to know. Is a lovely woman called Katie who works in Kingston Hospital, right? And she lives with her mum and dad because she can't afford to live in the area, right? Like many people who work in the health service, they can't afford to live in the places where they work. Socially affordable housing would be exactly the thing that she would benefit from, and countless thousands would benefit from and should benefit from. And so we gave her the keys. This is your living room. It's all right, isn't it?
It's lovely.
Quite a nice little view. This is 750 quid a week. This flat here. Toilet and that's good. They've got a little mat to tell you what it is. Bath. And I do believe we can actually go over to Katie live by satellite in the flat right now. Hey, Katie. Can you hear me, Katie?
I can hear you.
Great, I feel a little bit like Davina McCall on the Big Brother house. Can you do us a favour, Katie? What I want you to do is just keep an eye out for Mr. Meacher. Because we don't know if he fixes and helps out the running of the properties himself. The other favour I wanted to ask you is, the person who lives in Mr. Meacher's flat, you've got the number. Can you, if you see them, can you ask them to give us a call?
Okay.
Just give them the number. Keep your eyes open. Thanks a lot. I hope you enjoy your meal. Enjoy it. I'll see you later. Take care.
Thank you.
All right, then. Ta-ra. We've been talking to the land registry quite a bit because we're just taking pot shots. They like us. Seriously, they like us. Look, they sent us a Christmas card. Look at that. From the land registry. Season's greetings. They actually sound like the bloke who does the balls on the National Lottery. Well, good luck, everyone. Fingers crossed. And we said, we ordered up this search, and another Meacher property came in. It was just luck that we got another Meacher property, another flat in central Wimbledon, Very nice. Not as nice as the first one, I have to say, but it's just personal taste. And these aren't the only properties that he's got. He has a very nice flat in Oldham, which is his constituency. He represents Oldham, West and Royton. He has a nice house in Wimbledon, which he shares with his wife. He also has a place in Gloucestershire. The place in Gloucestershire was 4 workers' cottages, which were knocked together to form one house with a swimming pool. There you go. That's his place. Unfortunately, he didn't get permission to build the tennis court, which was very sad. And at this point, we've got 5 properties that Michael Meacher owns. And you're thinking, surely not the Michael Meacher who, in his book, Socialism with a Human Face, said housing is not and should not be a status symbol, an object of conspicuous consumption, or a source of market power and wealth. Surely not that, Michael Meacher. Right, so we thought, let's check with the Register of Members' Interests, where the MPs are supposed to note it all down. Now, this is what it says. It recommends, it doesn't order, it recommends that people are as open as possible, and if they have flats which they rent out, they number how many flats. And it actually says, for example, 3 residential rented properties in Manchester. That's the example it gives, because some people are quite detailed. Right, Blunkett, Chris Mullen, John Reed, rental income received from my son, who occupies my flat in Kennington. The bastard, he'll never leave the parental home. This is what Michael Meacher put up for his one. 4 words, flats let in London. No numbers, as is recommended. 4 fucking words, 1 sentence, 2 words longer than the shortest sentence in the world, which is Jesus wept. Which kind of feels appetite at this moment. Mr. Meacher says his entry into the Register of Members' Interest is accurate. But you think, no, surely not Michael Meacher, who in his book, Socialism with a Human Face, said people must be given sufficient information to know who is really wielding power and whose interest they are governing. Surely not that, Michael Meacher, you think to yourself, because it should be open. That's the whole point of having a register, so we can see what they're up to. And so we thought, well, hang on a minute, we need to be talking to Mr. Meacher here. So he got in contact with his press officer, and his press officer said, oh, you're not going to be mean to Meacher, are you? Mean to Meacher? Mean to Meacher? Hello? What do all sort of press officers doing this in government departments? Meacher? Mandy Mendelsohn, Twat Straw, do they all do it? I said, well, can we get an interview? They said, well, we have to weigh up whether it's an effective use of our Min's time. I said, Min's? She said, yes, that's what we call the ministers, Min's. I was like, Meachy, Min's, what a bunch of cuns. So we think, right, I'll tell you what, let's try and let's go up to Oldham, where his constituency is. So we went up there and we met some of the people from Oldham. And 2 people we met were great, Dave and Margaret. Now, they are ex-Labour Party members. In fact, they're more than that, they're ex-Labour Party councillors. And Meacher says that the reason that they wanted to have a go at him, by the way, was because they bore a grudge. They said to us, it's fortunate you're up here today, because Michael Meacher's having a surgery at the town hall. They said, we'll go in if you like. We'll ask him about this. This is very serious. I said, do you mind if we come along? He said, no, I don't. I said, can we bring the cameras? I said, no, if you want. He'd tell you to fuck off. So we went, and he did. And he was miffed. Oh, Meachy was miffed. Oh, miffed Meachy, which if you write children's books is a great character. Miffed Meachy, a little bunny with lots of warrens. And so he wouldn't speak to us. So we waited outside. Mr. Meacher, how many flats have you got, Mr. Meacher? How many flats have you got? Because we don't know what to say. Is it 5 flats, Meacher? 10 flats, Meacher? No, 2 Jags Prescott? We're just wondering there. Is this an active business interest? How many flats have you got, Mr. Meacher? 9. Mr. Meacher, I was just wondering. The car, I just shot out of there. When Jeremy Clarkson sees this footage, he'll be sitting there going, that is a Labour Environment Minister. We said to the constituents, we said, what happened with you? How did it go on? How did your meeting go with Mr. Meacher?
Mr. Marler, how many houses, who he buys them from, whereabouts they are, how much rent he collects from these houses, and whereabouts they are, the addresses, and every answer he kept saying it was absolutely nothing to do with us whatsoever.
This is from his book, Socialism with Two Faces. actually says secrecy may suit weak ministers and strong bureaucracies, but is the enemy of ministers and public servants dedicated to strong, vigorous democracy. I couldn't believe it. So, we took the constituents down to London. We showed them the flat in Wimbledon, and they're like, oh, this is very nice, isn't it? Fucking hell, wouldn't mind this. And this is going out at 750 quid.
How much?
A week.
A week?
A week. What do you reckon the average wage is in Oldham?
Take-home pay is roughly about 190 quid take-home.
190 quid
Yeah,
take-home.
that's
Less
for a
than
40-hour
The
week.
average wage is less
That
than
will get you the 2
£200,000.
storage cupboards and a bit of the kitchen. And then we took them down to Sandy Lane. This is where the scheme is going to be built. And this is going to develop, it should be 22, is it 23 units of affordable housing will be provided here. As you can see, we're about, 3 miles away from the flat that Michael Meacher owns. Would you describe this as the salubrious bit of Wimbledon that we've just come from?
So this is similar to the area that Michael Meacher represents. That's probably similar to the area that Michael Meacher lives in. I suppose that's the difference, isn't it?
We were very active within the Labour Party and we fought for 18 years to get rid of the Tories, and then we see what we've got. It's very disappointing, really, and sad.
Meacher, right, he actually has said that he didn't know about the Section 106 money. He didn't know about it, and it's the developer's responsibility. And he's right. It is the developer's responsibility. But he had time to buy the flat when he was a minister. He had time to work out the mortgage. He had time to work out the conveyancing. He had time to work out whether he'd profit from the rents. He had time to work out whether he should rent it himself and do the plumbing jobs, or whether he should pass it out. He had time to work all that out, but he didn't have time to ask the one question about socially affordable housing. Which is odd, because in his book, Socialism with a Human Feces, he says... A policy of reducing artificial status divisions in housing must aim at deliberate interpenetration of council and private housing estates by significant numbers of units of the other type. And I thought, now this is weird, because Mr. Meacher also goes on to say that socially affordable housing should be built as soon as possible. And he also says that his property interests do not run contrary to any of his beliefs or statements on social housing, which is odd, because he also says in his book, too many people have second homes, or too large homes for their needs, whilst too many others are homeless or badly overcrowded, or lacking even basic facilities. But we thought, I know what we'll do. We phoned up some friends in the City Index. And what odds can you give us on the number of flats that Michael Meacher declares that he has?
Okay, well, we know he's got 2, so he's got to declare that. So that would be a big favourite, probably 6-4, maybe 2-1.
Okay.
Then 3 would be close on, 5-2. 4 would perhaps be something like about 5-1. They get bigger as we go up, and we'll give you 8 or more, 12-1, big price.
So we're offering the mansions, Meacher's mansions, that's what we're offering on. We're on a magic carpet, flying duck and a piece of mustard. Mr. Portillo? Hi, it's Mark Thomas from Channel 4.
Yes, hello, good morning.
Can I have a quick word with you? It's just about, we've got some information about Labour ministers who are renting out properties and appear not to be as transparent as they might. Richard Allen, Lib Dem MP, how many... Mr. Meacher's got houses out, he's renting out. We're offering odds with the same odds or similar odds to City Index. No, it's just a punt, Mr. Portillo, if you fancy a punt.
Yeah, well, I think 5's my lucky number.
Are you going for 5? I'll do you a special discount. There's a ticket.
You're a gentleman bookie.
Thank you very much indeed, Governor. Well, I don't like him anyway. You're thinking, but Mark, he doesn't have to put it in the Register of Members' Interest, and he's not telling you how many flats he's got. How are you going to find out? After the show, we're putting out an email number and we're going live onto the net. You know where we are, the address is at the end of the programme. Contact us. Get in touch. If you know where a Labour minister is, because remember, at the beginning we said ministers, right? The number I heard was 4 or 5. Get in contact with us, because when it's a minister and they're not being as open as we feel they should be on this, and I think we've made the case here, when they're a minister and they're earning 85 grand a year plus index-linked pension plus they've got 5 properties, don't count as grassing. Just give us a call, because Michael actually says people like me who are privileged should not be in the position to rob other people of a home. We heartily concur. We decided to go up to Oldham to see the constituents again, and they'd got some mates there, and we got talking to the people in the pub, and so 35 people decided they would come with us to the constituency surgery to ask him one simple question: how many flats have you got? So I was waiting around the side, and suddenly the shout goes up, he's round the front, and fucking dashed round, and I sort of pelted round there like a breathless gazelle with grace and charm. And yeah, like a fat-winded penguin. So I bashed down there. Mr. Meacher, easiest question in the world, 100 quid question. How many flats have you got? You said, do you remember saying secrecy may suit the weak minister? In socialism with a human face? Do you remember saying that? How many houses have you got? You said it wasn't the constituents' concern. But it is, isn't it? They're here. You haven't. So we said, how many houses have you got? And you haven't answered. It's a really... Look, it's the 100 quid question. Here's the cheque. 100 quid. It's really simple. You know, I don't want to give you this. I want to give you more money. But you can tell us, how many houses have you got? That's all we want to know. Okay, well, we'll come this way. How many have you got? Do you remember saying that second homes shouldn't be used as conspicuous status symbols, or they shouldn't be used to accommodate and to accumulate wealth?
Quite right. That's
and you said that, didn't you?
Yes.
Now you've got at least 5 houses. You've got 5 properties, haven't you? At least.
I haven't used it like that, and I've told you I have a very small number of properties, which is entirely...
Can we just stop there? A very small number of properties. How many people, just on a show of hands, have got 5? Oh, we're performing to the wrong class of people. Carry on. It's a 100 quid question. How many have you got there, Mr. Meacher? That's all we want to know. It's 100 quid.
How many houses?
Well, was anyone satisfied with that?
No. That's a disgrace. A disgrace.
So, you know the arguments here, you know the story, you know the facts, and as I said, tell your mates, tell your friends, tell your colleagues, get them to contact us, because all the bits of the information is out there, and it'd be really fucking good to get it in. No.